Ahoy YouTube and welcome back to another hacking tutorial. My name's Chris, according to 9 out of 10 doctors, and today we're in a bit of a pickle. Or should I say, Rick is in a bit of a pickle.
I'm Pickle Rick!
Today we're going to be doing the Pickle Rick Capture the Flag. A really cool, fun, beginner-friendly Capture the Flag, but it does highlight a lot of good principles that everybody from beginners to advanced can actually benefit from. Without further ado, let's jump into it and see what we're working with. Alright, here we are in the Pickle Rick CTF. Alright, so it looks like we have 3 flags we need to capture. Alright, let's immediately look at our IP address we're working with. Let's copy that over. Alright, I made a directory this time. I'm trying to be a little bit more organized, the way I should. I got a directory going with Pickle Rick. Let's nmap this. I like running the script command and the service version command. It basically tells you like what version of the different services are running on each port that we're scanning. And the script command just says if there's basically any like available scripts that can function on it. It gives you a little bit more insight for for any vulnerabilities. We'll run that for a bit. Just like most of these, while that's running, that may take a while. I just like checking to see if there is a web application, and 9 times out of 10, there's going to be something. And in this case, there is. Looks like a pretty simple web page. So let me zoom in for you guys. Help Morty. Listen, Morty. I need your help. I've turned myself into a pickle again, and this time I can't change back. That was my attempt at a burp. Obviously, didn't go too well. I need you to, Morty, log onto my computer and find the last 3 secret ingredients to finish my pickle reverse potion. The only problem is I have no idea what the password was. Okay, cool. So, let's inspect the element. Let's see if there's anything here worth noting. Sometimes there's like hidden fields that we can manipulate or anything of interest. The header looks pretty basic. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, here's the paragraphs with the text. Cool. Note to self, remember username Rick rules. Awesome. That's always fun to have. Oh, cool, we got this already set. Let me go ahead and just open up a README file. Let's make it a markdown really quick. Throw it in here just to keep our notes going a little bit. I do need to get a little better at that. Let me just close some of these out. Those are from other videos that we've had. All right, so let's just save a couple of important things. We got the IP address. We got a username of Rick Rules. Let's copy that over. Bear with me 1 second. Just gotta be a little organized. All right, cool. Rick Rules, and that's it for that. So that's pretty cool. I guess we got something useful out of that. Let's see what we got. Let's look at our nmap scan really quick. All right, we got port 22, so SSH. It is open, so that may be an avenue of approach. Looks like it's got some RSA encryption, and then the other one we have is just port 80. Apache. Once again, I see Apache, Linux, and the service info because we put the SV gives us a little info, so the OS is Linux. We have that right. So cool. So we have port 22 and port 80. We should explore a little bit more. I don't really need any of that. Let's explore a little bit more into what we have here on port 80. We're going to do a simple domain enumeration. So just look for what other domains we can find on here. Subdomains, directory enumeration, my bad. Directory enumeration. So once again, I like using GoBuster. It's pretty quick. You can use dirbuster, you can use fuff. There's all sorts of stuff. But GoBuster's kind of just quick and to the point. We'll put dir for directory mode. We gotta ensure we put -u for the URL. We'll do http // Let's whoops. Sorry, I forgot I had that in my clipboard. Let's actually just go back here and copy this. Throw that in there, and then we got to give it a word list. So we have a word list on user, share, word list. Once again, GoBuster comes with Kali. The word list that I'll be using comes with Kali. Word list, and there's one under dirbuster directory, and it is directory list 2.3 medium.txt. I like using that one. That one's usually pretty good. All right, while that's loading, we got something called assets. While that's loading, once again, if you've seen any of my previous videos of any of our capture the flags, first thing I'm going to look at while that's loading is the robots.txt. That's just a given. Once again, robots.txt, it's a good spot where it's a place where all web developers put any directories that they don't want uh, listed by web crawlers. We got wubba lubba dub dub. I'll copy that. Let's see. Is that a directory? Okay, no, not directory. So that may just be another clue. We'll just mark it here. We'll just put it under robots. We'll just say wubba lubba dub dub. Unless that may be a password. I mean, we got a username here, password here. Now that I look at it a little bit, let me zoom in. All right, cool. All right, we got assets. It'll redirect us. Just throw that in there to see if there's anything useful in there. Oh, all right. I got some interesting stuff here. Oh, we got some Bootstrap, some JavaScript, failed GIF, a portal JPEG, Rick and Morty JPEG. Where do these go? Something crazy it looks. I guess we can inspect. If there's anything else crazy in here, it doesn't look like it. Some style sheets, some CSS style sheets. Nothing too crazy. And then the location of it, so it's under assets, portal. All right, nothing crazy that we can see. I'm gonna let this run for a little bit and see if we get anything, and I will bring you guys right back. All right, so I've let it run for a little bit, and we're not really gaining much traction. Now, assuming that the username is Rick Rules and that this is a password, it's a strong assumption, but you know, half the time when you're trying to do any sort of pen testing or hacking, you're just throwing things out and just seeing what sticks, right? So, assuming this is this combination, SSH isn't going to work from what we've seen earlier with the RSA encryption, which means there's most likely a PKI, a public key infrastructure. Words aren't my friend today. Basically, there's some sort of public private key infrastructure going on. So it's not going to be as simple as that. We can try it. You know, we can do SSH. What's the username? Let's copy and paste Rick Rules. We can try it because why not? But I don't see this working, right? So let's copy that. We do an SSH Rick Rules at, and then let's go back and copy this. Right, and then yeah, key fingerprint, SHA-256. Sure, let's fingerprint that. That's fine. Oh, yes, sorry. Like used to typing it. Yep. Permission denied. All right, see, so it is on some sort of key infrastructure. So that's not going to work. So that's fine. So if that's the case, if we can't log in through SSH, there may be some sort of login on some sort of directory, right? Something we're not finding. Obviously, we're not picking much up in terms of just direct injection for the direct fuzzing for this. But what we can do, GoBuster has this really cool feature. Let's go ahead and copy this. I'm gonna leave this running here in the background a little bit. But one thing when you are looking for any sort of login page, is a lot of times the login pages are going to run on either more than likely some sort of PHP or HTML extension in the background. So you do the same exact thing, and we put the -X, which is going to be for extensions, and we're going to look for any extensions that are PHP or HTML. All right, and then we'll give this a shot and see if anything pops up. Already we're getting more things now. There is an index.html. There's a login.php. So that may be our avenue of approach. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this one. I don't think we're going to get much else out of that. Let's clear that out. Portal.php. Back to assets. We already did that. So let's try that login.php. Let's see what we get there. Let's throw this in here. Let's try login.php. We tried login previously and it didn't work. Okay, so now we're in a portal page. And now, perfect. So we do have this. Let's throw in our Rick Rules. And let's give a wubba lubba dub dub a shot. Let's throw that in there. Log in. Awesome. So we're in. So that worked. Okay, sweet. What do we got here? Potions. Only the real Rick can view this page. Okay. Anything crazy in here? Anything in the headers? No. Nothing crazy. No, I don't think we're going to find anything crazy here. Okay, cool. Best clone notes. Doesn't as redirects. Here, nothing. Okay, cool. So we got some sort of command panel. Commands. Who am I? Data. Okay, so we don't have. So we're not Rick. We're just in a standard user. Okay, so there may be something here, but since we're not logged in with the proper user, it's not gonna happen. All right, let's try ls. Hey, super secret pickle ingredient text. .txt. Copy that. Let's try to cat it. Let's just see what's in it. That may just be our first flag. Command disabled to make it harder for future Pickle Rick. Nice. Let's see what's in it. Let's see how they disabled it. Is there some sort of JavaScript or something here? Oh, it's a lot of stuff. Got this random text here. Oh, and this random okay, that looks okay. If you see the moment you see anything with like 2 equal signs at the end, that's probably base 64 encoded. Probably some sort of base 64 encoded string. We can actually decode that really quick. An echo command. So echo this, and then pipe it base 64 -d for decode. It's giving us an invalid input. Let's try seeing if it's double base 64 encoded. Okay, so now it gave us first the invalid input, now it's giving us this. Let's try tripling it. Oops. Put the right. Let's pipe that. Now it's giving us an invalid input, and I believe we can do this again. I know this is something that they'll do sometimes. See, now it's coming back to a reasonable one, and try it again. So now we're back again to another base 64 structure. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am more stubborn than these developers. I guarantee you that I will keep going until I figure it out. Another base 64 encoding. What are we at? 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's give it another one. And I'm just chaining the decodes. That's all it's doing. I'm just piping, using the pipe characters, just chain the decodes. So let's try that again. Oh, and rabbit hole is what we ended up with, because that's what we just went down. We just went down a rabbit hole. Wow. Oh man, that's good. I like that. That's not a key. No. RABBI. No, okay. So it's not a key to any of these. It's just all right. Cool. It's just getting trolled. All right. I like that. That's funny. That's funny. Touche. Touche. So the cat command is not allowed. ls is, and we do have this super secret Pickle Rick here. Let's see. We could just simply, because it looks like all these are directories, right? Like if I do current working directory. All right, so we're within the root directory of the website, you know. So it is running Linux. It's under the var www HTML directory. So we are within the root directory. So within this root directory, anything we see here can be filled within it. So like if I come up here and I simply just enter this, we're within that directory, and press enter. Boom. So we got our first clue. Let's throw that in. Yeah, it looks like it fits here. Mr. Misi Care. All right, awesome. We got the first one. Sweet. All right, let's go back. Oop, document expired. That's fine. It says reload it. Resend. Cool. All right, so we got our first ingredient. Flag 1. We'll just say Mr. Misi Care. Awesome. By the way, other ways that we could do this, right? Obviously we can't do cat and then I don't know, tab complete anything. We can't concatenate this. Right, it won't let us. But let's try other things. Maybe a head. Does head work? Okay, that's disabled too. How about tail? Tail's disabled too. But there are other methods. There's less. Let's see if that one is. Ah, see, so you can use less commands. So getting to know different Linux-based commands can help you with some things when when a lot of commands are blocked by administrators. So we found our first ingredient. It doesn't look like there's much else here. This looks like that is pretty much all that we're going to get if we ls the root directory. Let's see what's in it. So we can check from here. Are there any other... Let's check the home directory. Let's see who we have to work with. Let's go into the home directory. All right, there is Rick. So there's Rick and then the Ubuntu. Let's go into... Maybe we can ls that directory. We can list out the contents of it. So let's go into home/Rick. Is there anything? Second ingredients. Okay, well, that's always nice. What's in there? Let's list out everything in the home Rick second. And if you have a space, obviously you can't just input it like that. You can backspace to cancel that out. And then ingredients. And what the, not the backspace, what the, was that a backslash? Yeah, what the backslash does is the next character gets read as a string, essentially. All right, it looks like that is actually not a directory. Okay, so it is in fact a file. Let's go back in here. Let's actually try to... We've seen the less command works. Let's see what's in it. 1 Jerry tier. All right, already off to a good start. This looks like it'll fit in there. Second ingredient, 1 Jerry tier. All right, and then we're just 1 ingredient away. So far, so good. Now, I can almost guarantee you that the last ingredient is probably within the root directory. That's how it is. That's how it always is. You know, we're gonna have to gain some sort of privilege escalation, so it's not letting us see anything in the root directory. Let's see if this is running. It is a Linux server, so let's see if it's running any type of Python. Maybe Python 3? Ah, okay, so it's running Python 3. So you got to denote it as Python 3. It's not going to work as simply Python, so that's fine. All right, so if it is running that, I am curious to know if we can use some sort of reverse shell. So let's see. Python. Let's see. No, not that one. There is a reverse shell. There it is. Pentest Monkey. So Pentest Monkey has a really good cheat sheet for those that don't know. We could use one here with Python, and it's importing the socket. I'll zoom in a little bit. Here it is. And there should be more to it here. Copy all that. Let's open up our Sublime. We'll throw it in there. So those are really cool little, short little Python command line where you're just importing the socket and you're using socket.af_inet is for IP version 4, and then socket.sockstream is for TCP. Fun fact, I know a lot of these walkthroughs just tell you to just dump this in there and change this and that, but don't actually go into explaining it. I would like to be able to explain it to you guys. So socket.socket, you're basically opening up a socket, a line of communication between us and or between this server, and it's going to be us that we're sending it to. So it's going to open up between this Linux server on the web and our server here on Kali. So we're going to change this. So we got to change this to our host here. So let's do once again ifconfig. We're going to give it the tune 0 because that's the one that we're using to connect to the box. I'm going to copy that, clear this out, open this back up. Let's change that over to doesn't look like I copied that properly. My bad. Let's go back in. So we're going to go here, copy this, open this back up, delete that. All right, copy ours in, and then we're going to set it to the official hacking port 1337. Yeah, so rundown of this, quick and dirty. Python, we're opening this in the command line. We're importing the socket library or module. We're importing the subprocess module, which allows us to basically run processes within our terminal and the OS. And then we're opening up a socket, and it's going to be an IPv4 socket with a TCP connection, which means we can make calls back and forth as opposed to UDP, which is more of a one-way. TCP allows to go back and forth. Then we're going to take that socket and we're going to connect to us, connect to our tune 0 connection here on port 1337. Right. So this takes a tuple, which is going to be the IP address and then the port. And then these with the file number is going to be your standard input, standard output, and standard errors. And then it's going to call the sub process and it's going to spawn in a shell, so a bin shell here. All right, so let's copy this over and run it over here. Now we have netcat waiting, and execute it, and nothing. Let me look at that one more time. Oh, that's right. This thing only runs with Python 3 enabled. So let's try that with Python 3, because Python by itself is not working on here. Let's try that one more time. Execute. And that's a good sign. Whenever you just see this like constant loading, that's usually a good sign. Boom. All right, so now we are once again in here. And we've been here before with these ugly shells that I just cannot stand. You know that I need my pretty shells. Let's go in here. We can see that we do have our very ugly shell that doesn't have any, clear, just because there's no term environment variable set, so you're not going to have any of that. Your history, your up arrow is not going to work. Tab completion is not going to work. This is just like we did on the Mr. Robot capture the flag video. We're going to actually bring in our own terminal. So just make things a little nicer. First thing you're going to want to do is Python 3-C, because you're all going to write this all in the command line. We're going to import pty, right, and then semicolon, and then pty.spawn. So we're going to spawn in our own little shell here, and instead of a regular shell, it's going to be bash. All right, close that off. Oops. All right, so it's looking a little bit better, but we're still lacking a lot of functionality in terms of things like clear and tab completion, history, all that. So next thing you're going to do is press Control-Z to background this. Excuse me. We're going to background it, and then we're going to input stty raw, and then we're going to take away the echo. It's important. So the raw feature is basically saying just import this or just run my commands as is. Don't interpret them to anything. And then the minus echo is to take away the echo. If you don't take away the echo, every time you import something, it's going to echo it again. So if you type exit, it's going to be EEXXIITT. So it's important you include this. Enter. Now you're going to type FG. You're not going to see it because the echo's been taken away. In this one, we're going to type FG for foreground. Enter. This is going to come up. You're going to press enter again. Now we're back in here. We still don't have the features we want in terms of clear, for example, or tab completion, but we're going to import, or in this case, export the terminal we want. So it's going to be export term equals, and we're going to put xterm. Enter. And now we'll be able to utilize functions such as clear. Clear, we have history, we have tab completion. All right, and we are dub data, which is just a regular standard, not like a guest user essentially for Linux. We don't really have much commands for anything. Let's see what we do have commands for. So you do sudo tech l. It'll tell us what commands we can run as a super user in here. So let's try that. It says user may run the following commands on this IP address. All commands with no password. All. So basically, we can run whatever we want as super user. You know what? I'll take it. I will take it. Don't mind me. Thank you very much. I will gladly take that. So let's cd into the main directory, into the root directory. Let's see what we have in here. So I would be willing to bet that if we go into the root directory, which I don't think we can access it, permission denied, can we look into it? CDLA root. Yeah, permission denied. Let's try with sudo. Sudo ls root. And we got third.txt. Awesome. So let's cat, when you sudo it. Sudo cat. Where are we? Oh, we're in the directory root. And then we'll go with third.txt. Third ingredients, phlebe juice. I am willing to bet that phlebe juice here is... Yep, and that is it. So if we didn't want to go about the whole reverse shell, if we just want to do it sticking to this, we can do the exact same commands pretty much. I just wanted to highlight how we could how we can utilize a reverse shell through Python, through a socket, to gain access to this. But we can do the exact same thing with this. If we did the sudo-l command, it'll tell us the same thing, user data has can run the following commands, all the commands, and with password we can run them all. So at that point we know, okay, we can pretty much do whatever we want here. So first thing we can do is just sudo ls, let's see everything that is in the root directory under root. We'll execute, nothing crazy. And we can already see here there's a third.txt. Cool, so we can check that out. Let's see if we have access to cat it, or if not, we can just use less, but I'm just curious. If we did root and then third.txt. All right, so that command's disabled. That's fine. We'll just use less. Root, and then it was third.txt. We execute that. Cool. We got the last ingredient as well, phlebe juice. That's an alternate way to do it. So that about does it for Pickle Rick. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We did look at 2 different ways to do it. We went the more traditional route that you'll probably utilize more. I don't think if you're doing much penetration testing in a real life environment, you're gonna have like a command panel to use, like on a PHP page. But we went over that aspect, and then we also went over the reverse shell aspect, and then we also went over utilizing it the way I guess it was intended to, with which is using different commands on Linux and just getting familiar with that. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider dropping a like. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. We'll be dropping new content all the time. Dropped a video yesterday that may be linked somewhere around there. And we'll continue doing this. So until next time, I will catch you guys later.
I'm Pickle Rick!